Who was that 47, Cameron?
On defence?
Yeah, Hornets. I can't see him on here. 47. Oh, here he is, Gibson. 10 years
Another one that doesn't look like
experience.
another one who doesn't look like a football player.
Yeah, I can hear myself.
Yeah.
I think so. Can you hear me?
I can...
Yeah.
I can
hear
all three of you.
All right, are we live? No.
Yeah, we're live now.
Okay.
But I just thought I'll do a little bit. Just introduce yourselves now, and then we'll put everything.
Hello and welcome to the 2006 BAFA Flag Finals here. This is the adult game between the London Rebels and the Glasgow Hornets. You're joining us on third down now. We've had just a slightly delayed start, but it's just enough time as Kenny Bello picks up that pass. Just enough time to introduce my co-commentary team today. We've got Neil Henderson of the Chichester Sharks, who's got a lot of experience of all of these teams, and Jen Mackier, the international women player and Warwick Wolverine. Hello, folks.
Hello.
Hi, John.
Thanks for having us.
So we've got an interesting start. It's a true North v South here. The London Rebels beat the Aberdeen Oilcats 1914 in their semi-final, while Glasgow Hornets drilled the Victoria Park Panthers 46-7. You're seeing pressure there by Shaw on Calvin Tarleton, and that's brought up a first change of possession. The London Rebels not scoring on that first drive. So, Neil, you've had a lot of experience with the London Rebels over a few seasons now. How do you think they'll approach this one?
I think a very experienced team, John, lacking a few players today, which might count against them. Calvin Tarleton has told us he has injured his hand in Miami playing for GB last week. Did struggle in the first half in the semi-final just now, but got it back in the second half. So it will be interesting to see how they do.
And that's an opening completion from Alan Young to Jules Holborn-White. And Jules Holborn-White, of course, a transfer from Carnegie quite recently. And that man has height. That's going to be a real advantage for Glasgow.
It really will. I think a lot of teams suffer from not having much height. Glasgow quite good in that department. Not many particularly tall people on the Rebels. Rich Manning, a cornerback on the left-hand side there, number 32, probably their tallest player.
Jen, you saw the Glasgow Hornets roll over the Victoria Park Panthers in that first semi-final. How did you see them play in that first one?
Yeah, absolutely. They were very convincing, actually. And Nikki, that's just got them a first down, looks particularly good. Well drilled, disciplined, seemed to know what they were doing against a Panthers team that definitely underperformed. So
I
I'm
completely
expecting
agree.
this to be a really good matchup today.
Interesting point on this one, of course, this team in regular season play only has one loss between them. The Glasgow Hornets lost to the Aberdeen Oilcats, who will be playing, I think we're playing right now in the fourth place playoff. London Rebels went completely unbeaten in the SEC South.
We tried to beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't happen.
Did you feel you were closer than before?
No. They thrashed us quite considerably. Our excuse is that we were suffering from injuries and unavailability, but yeah, they definitely deserve to be here from the teams from our conference.
And we saw, of course, the London Rebels, they didn't complete for a touchdown on their first drive. What do you think the London Rebels' strengths are now?
I think probably experience. They've got some very good hands, but as I said before, they did suffer from some drops. Once they get going, players like Bill Ammons, number 2 there, the blitzer, Rich Manning as a receiver, and also the other receivers that they got on the sideline like Bello and Tim Eaton in particular really turned it up in the second half.
Alan Young dropping back there. He's not a man for a 7-step drop, is Alan Young, but he's dropped that one off to Jules Holborn-White as well, who's going to be a real target all day. But they've got some talent throughout that squad, Glasgow.
They really do. They've a lot of experience on both sides of the ball. They've picked up some excellent players like Holborn-White, as you say, and number 8 there as well. They picked up from the Kirkcaldy Bulls.
Of course, that's a team that will roll off the
yeah.
tongue for people who have a historical interest
Indeed.
in flag. Absolutely dominant for years. And it's Jules again.
Tackled short, about 2 yards to go there.
Guys, can you get right in close to the microphones?
Yeah.
This is going to be a pretty close one here. Third down.
On this one, you want to watch for the shovel underneath, fake, and then over the top. They did it to the Panthers all game long.
You mean that one there?
It's over there. Oh, he's picked it. Oh!
Jen called it and they couldn't complete it.
What kind of jinxed them? Maybe they heard
Yeah.
me, the Rebels.
Callan Cabbage Bell nearly with his first touchdown for the day, but so very close.
That brings up 4th down.
London have got to be absolutely overjoyed with that one. Looked like it just dropped straight onto him and bounced out.
Man coverage here for the Rebels with one blitzer.
He's looking for it again.
Oh, they get it.
Gone for the shovel underneath there.
They've got to work out a way to stop the man monster that is Jules.
Indeed.
You said he had speed, but he also has a lot of strength, actually, really being able to power through coverage there.
A lot of plays in the semi-final get the opportunity to just go above players and muscle them out in the end zone, and that's absolutely crucial when you're playing this sort of game.
Trips play here for the extra point.
Oh, made it look easy. Dave Pasnick with the catch there, our ex-Kirkcaldy Bulls player. That makes it 7-0 to the Hornets.
So now you've got a long and storied history with both of these teams.
Indeed, Glasgow Hornets, a team that I helped to form with a former colleague, Andrew Chapman, back when I was living up in Scotland, about in 2001, 2002, but then I moved south. Just as the team was really starting to establish, and obviously with the Rebels, we played in the same division and conference. Since the league started in 2008, we started out better than them, and they've improved, and we haven't improved so much, unfortunately. Yeah, so I've Calvin Tarleton, the quarterback in particular. Yeah, I've played him more times than I choose to remember.
How would you, if you were the Glasgow Hornets trying to play against Calvin Tarleton here today, would you have any cheats for you?
I don't know, putting him under pressure sometimes, as showed in the first half in the semi-final. He can suffer from, if it's a few drops from the wide receivers, it can get people's heads down. If he gets a bit annoyed, sometimes it can count against him. Just playing steady football should do the trick. But when you're playing, some receivers like Tim Eaton and Kenny Bello, you've got a really tough ask.
A pretty deep drop there for the snap for Calvin Tarleton, who's only looking, and they're chasing him.
Blitzer missed it, missed tackles. Kenny Bello's still going.
Oof, so many opportunities for Glasgow there. Chris Farrell nearly got the sack, and then they nearly got the tackle, but Kenny Bello is a very elusive receiver.
He really is. Once he gets ball in hand. He's great for those high balls and those ones downfield, but ball in hand as well. A very elusive runner.
Watched Kenny with great admiration at the last year's Euros, where he took home the MVP award. So he internationally acclaimed. I'll be looking to him for my receptions today.
And you've got to check out the technique of the blitzer, the way he kind of runs in with his arms in the air.
That's a tackle there. That's Ashke Singhal, who had a pretty good semi-final.
He really did.
Touchdowns.
And one of those touchdowns he caught with his ear, if I remember correctly, down the sideline. The Aberdeen Oilcats thought he might have bobbled it out of bounds, but the pass was given on the edge of down the sideline for a really good catch, and that was actually the go-ahead score.
So the London Rebels moving in to try and get the equalising score. Jen, as a defensive stalwart at international level, how would you do this from short yardage?
Oh,
he's picked it up.
Is it given? Yes, he has.
Number 32, Rich Cooling. Of course, that's a GB combination, Calvin to Cooling. But it's kind of a redundant question there.
Yeah, ask them, not me. Great tippy-toe catch there.
How to make an easy catch look hard. Going for the extra point now to tie it up.
Hornets again in man, sending a blitz.
I expect they're probably not going to do much else all day.
Looking for Bella, and he's just got the grip on it, hasn't he?
7-all. That's the Rebels' standard extra point play.
You're not going to tear the ball off him in that position.
A play that we've now introduced at the Chichester Sharks, which we call Rebel, interestingly.
A very similar situation to over in the north, where about half of the league have an extra point play called Woodham.
Yeah.
Both of these teams have their real go-to extra point play. It'll be interesting to see how the defences adapt to that, knowing what they're about to do.
Could be a penalty here.
Hard charging running from Nicky Farrell, of course, who is known as an option quarterback for the Glasgow Hornets. He's played that position, obviously, for the Clyde Valley Blackhawks in the kit world, and was a quarterback. He's repping in with Alan Young, obviously, but having someone with that much speed that can act as an option runner is a scary option for the Glasgow
really
Hornets.
is. He's stepping out now, and Dave Pasnick comes back in as a receiver. About 10 minutes played so far.
Good tackle there. I think we saw in the semi-final a lot of missed tackles from the Panthers. So if the Rebels
There was,
can,
yeah. I think in both semi-finals actually quite a number of missed tackles, and that can be the difference between winning and losing.
Absolutely.
Having been pitch side, Jen, for the semi-final between the Glasgow Hornets and the Victoria Park Panthers, what do the London Rebels need to do to make an impression in this final and maybe take home the trophy?
Well, things like that, those sort of fundamentals, making tackles. I think if you add up all the extra yards after the first missed tackle that the Hornets did, that was probably a lot of the game, actually. Consistent driving up the field on offence, I think would do. I think this is going to be a similar game for both sides of the ball in that respect. So.
In the semi-final, of course, the pick six soon after the first Glasgow Hornets score can really damage your momentum. So ball control could be very important for these two quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
I
think that was Nicky Farrell, if I think, stepped in front and took that pick six
indeed.
back.
Before you knew it, Panthers were 3 scores down, and it's just so hard to come back from that.
The other semi-final was nip and tuck all the way. It was 7-7 at half-time, and really close until the end.
Oh, and that's Grant
there.
McLennan. Of course, Grant McLennan, a Kirkcaldy Bulls veteran, for about 24 years of flag experience for the man. And, he's no spring chicken anymore, but the guy has hips.
Absolutely. You saw that nicely on that little sweep underneath. The whole team, actually, is not a team that, looking at them, you might think were as dominating as they are. But
are you saying they don't look like football players?
That could have gone anywhere.
Alan Young with his bowling pass there. Bill Armand's nearly managed to pick it off.
That's one of the downsides to the no-look. But he's had some... Alan Young is not a man for the full wind-up and drop back and throw. But
as a fellow quarterback who also can't throw it properly, I completely understand. It makes no difference whatsoever how you throw it, as long as it gets there.
It's
Option
a deceptive
play.
game, and there it is. Nicky Farrell looking over the top, and Alan Young,
Alan Young on the option.
Very nearly quarterback touchdown.
That was on 4th down, turnover. A really important
from the pre-game that Alan Young is desperate to get a receiving touchdown at some point in this tournament.
Saw him drop an important first down in the semi-final as well, so it's at least 2 he's dropped today on exactly the same play.
You have to give credit to the defence on that play. The
really
blitzer dropped back, picked up a receiver, meant no one was open.
You'll have seen a few of these players, Jen, on international action in the Euros. How do these players have been playing together for a year? How do they connect up?
Very well, obviously. I think having that international experience and performing kind of under that pressure and against elite defences, you definitely do build up those connections, and you'll see that with Calvin and
Makes
Kenny.
a massive difference. If you look at the Rebels starting offence at the moment, the only player that hasn't played for GB is number 81, Akshay Singhal.
Like you said, had a great semi-final game.
He really did.
He's up there in terms of calibre.
Tim Eaton made himself an
that's not... Oh!
For Kenny, no.
Kenny Bella just couldn't locate that one in the air, but for just a second it looked that ravenous Glasgow Hornets defence had suddenly just spat something out with devastating effect.
That's one you'd usually expect Kenny to get.
He just seemed to lose it in midair.
Yeah, possibly an issue with the ball. I was chatting to Calvin after the semi-final, and the ball they used in that game was really quite slippery and found it quite tricky. It was a little bit windier up on the semi-final pitches, and they have changed the football they're using for this game. So it might have been something in that.
So again, playing an almost American-style 10-yard snap there. It's great if you've got a centre that can do that and deliver the ball effectively, but he's picked it up. And that looks like a short one.
Cameron Shaw with the tackle there.
One of the good things about Glasgow that you noticed in the semi-finals is that they were a team that would get it next to the ball carrier. Even if they got
really
a catch,
do.
They weren't getting yards after touch.
Very quick to make up that distance and very good tackling. Change of blitzer now. Fraser Shaw. Apparently he does jiu-jitsu, so better not got in his wrong
He
side.
got a sack in the semi-final, I believe. Actually, he was quite rapid.
Oh, option
Oh, they're
play.
going-
Kenny
they're
Bell
going
going
after all.
downfield.
It's Singal with a big
that's actually-
catch for that
yeah.
first down.
Wow.
That's another thing that comes from international experience.
It
Maybe
really
there's
does.
a lot more of that going on in international league.
Noticed that in some of the, unfortunately, quite a lot, not many of the games on the live feed from Miami, but some of the games I did manage to catch, the Mexico games in particular, they did so many of that flat pass out to the wide receiver and then for the option.
This is already more blanket coverage than the World Championships over in Miami.
Another
And
option
Singal,
play.
oh, everyone's getting it here.
Tarleton's on
He's
the run.
going, oh!
Oh. Nicky Farrell with the tackle.
It's not a sight that you see very often. Calvin Tarleton in full
running,
flow down the
no.
sidelines.
Certainly keeping this Hornets defense on their toes, but I think they're adapting very well, not giving up many yards on that.
So we've got about 4 minutes left. I think we started pretty much on time. Score still 7 all rather.
Calvin Tarleton back to throw. He's got a bit of pressure on him. He's found Kenny Bello.
Another good tackle by
Nicky
Nicky
Farrell immediately in there. Such a versatile player, Nicky Farrell.
He really is, both sides of the ball.
Recognised last year's pulling the flag players of the year. Probably could have got a spot either at quarterback, wide receiver or safety. And you don't let go of players like that.
You
when
really
get them.
don't. Looks like
He's looking for it
another
again.
A
It's
zone
going up in the air.
coverage. Overthrow
Oh,
there. Tim Eaton was open in the back of the end zone.
They don't give up many of those opportunities, so you take them when you get them.
It's fourth down now. This
Looks
would
like
be
they've brought on Holben White, so here, interesting to see what's
a lot of experience on the defence there.
You've got a lot of height with
That's
Holden
what I
White.
was thinking.
McLennan, very pacey, can recover back on the ball very well.
I'm going to call an interception here.
He's angling out the outside. It's
Overthrow again.
Hasn't it kind of made a
Yeah, I
play for
thought
the
he was
ball there
gonna-
and got himself caught in front of the play a little bit?
Yeah.
So
You'd expect Rich Cooling to catch those ones. Holds up his hand as if looked like maybe a bit of an apology.
So we're still at 7-7 here at the first half. London Rebels against Glasgow Hornets. For many, this is going to be the end of the season, but for some, the season is just beginning. The Women's League is bringing up the Opal Series coming very, very soon, including the London Warriors don't seem to be returning to defend their title yet, but we don't think so.
Yeah, we're still welcoming teams to put themselves up for the tournament.
I
so
think the
so we
deadline
will
might
see.
be today or tomorrow.
Deadline day.
Yeah, to see which teams have registered.
We were just waiting for someone to have their yellow tie up, and we were just going to put little transfer notices up on the windows, but Alan Young, that's a stump off to
from running back.
McLennan, who's tried to weave around two players and ran out of room. Of course, one of the teams that's going to be competing in this year's Opal Series is the long-standing Warwick Wolverines. How are the Warwick Wolverines preparing for this season?
Practices have started up again. We also had a pretty good summer series in which we came third, so we're happy with that performance. Only dropped 2 games, and that was to the first and second place teams. So, got that momentum carrying forward. Obviously, we'll be doing some recruitment at the beginning of the term with the freshers, so we'll see if we can add a bit of height to our team. As always, we struggle with height, so it'd be nice to see if we can get someone tall in. But yeah, looking forward to it. We will be without our coach for the first season, for the first time ever. So best of luck to Phil in his next adventures, but also how could you? So we will see how we fare without him, but I'm optimistic.
Always an interesting perspective. With a team like the Glasgow Hornets and London Rebels, they can keep a player for years and years, but a university team has a fair bit of turnover. How do you cope with something like that?
It is tough. And you see teams like the Coventry Cougars, and they are able to retain those players and build up connections. And some of the connections they have, QB to receiver, just seem telepathic. So it is hard to bring people in sometimes you'll only have a few training sessions until the first Opal series, and it's quite a baptism by fire, but we've always had good coaching and stuck to the fundamentals, and really I think the best way to learn is by playing, so we just try and get up to speed as quickly as possible.
That's Alan Young connecting there for the first down with Grant McLennan. That gives up a new set of downs for the Glasgow Hornets as they look to try and score. It's a long one as everyone's on it, and Cooling intercepts it.
And throws it into triple coverage.
That's an ambitious play. That's not necessary,
that
really.
was never there.
They've got a first down there. I mean, I know we really, really trust those receivers, but chucking it up into 3 players like that in a final when it's deadlocked, it's a big
all of
risk.
them had the height on him as well.
On first down inside, I think we must be around the 2-minute warning. It's difficult to hear how much time's left.
They'll be looking to try and make the best of a bad situation, maybe get a safety here, but
possibly,
wow, that is a...
Calvin Tarleton starting on the 1-yard line. He did get sacked on the first play of the semi-final for a 4-yard loss, but then confidently moved the ball away from the end zone.
Surely expecting like a quick slant or a pitch forward to get some yards to back them out of this situation.
Shaw blitzing.
He's going for it. Sengal with the catch and gets out to about the 10-yard line, I believe. Tackle made by Grant McLennan.
Rebels take a timeout.
That's a 1:41.
41. 0-4-1.
0:41.
I think he changed it to 0-4-1. That's what it sounded like.
Well,
to
that
me.
minute makes all the difference.
Really, yeah. We're definitely inside the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, it feels
that
like
much
that.
we do know.
The air of tension is palpable even from the balcony. Of course, the London Rebels have been here before, very recently losing finalists last season to the Birmingham Lions, who came out of nowhere last season, rookies that just took the league by storm, dominated the previous year's champions, the Cardiff Hurricanes, in league play before storming through. The London Rebels maybe appeared New York Giants style right at the death in the SEC South, very nearly got dumped out by the Victoria Park Panthers in that year.
A tough year. I know both. I know the Reading Lions did really well last year and this year as well, and obviously Victoria Park as well. Have grown and grown every year with the core bunch of guys that they've got. That's both timeouts now used by the Rebels.
And they've got a bit of space. They've probably got about 7 or 8 yards before they hit the halfway marker.
Clock will stop if they get a first down. It's 3rd down now.
They're running a trips left. Watching for Kenny Bello, maybe running a post pattern here. He's going long for him. Oh, there's contact on that play. They'd probably just say there's a bump together.
Yeah. If anything, I thought Kenny Bello might have given Nicky Farrell a little push in the back.
Yeah, it looked that way.
But then it was him that fell over, so it's probably the right result there. No flags on the play.
They've tried to target the Glasgow Hornets secondary a couple of times like that, with Kenny Bello running either skinny post up that point.
Nothing
Not
coming from it so
happened,
far.
But
that brings up 4th and halfway. Big play coming here.
it seems like slightly different approach. The Glasgow short game seems to be the key to them winning
really
this game. Whereas if Calvin Tarleton connects with one of these players deep, that tumbleweed sound that you can hear running through is all of the commentary notes just flying towards Jen at a rate of knots.
Tim Eaton with the first down carts there. Clock will stop.
That's all they needed.
Brings up 4 more chances to score right before the half.
Of course, with the Glasgow Hornets starting with the ball in the second half, the London Rebels getting that score before the half is a huge big momentum.
I think I might have heard somebody shout 24. I'm guessing 24 seconds. It must be about that. We've not used much time.
What are you telling your defence at this point, Jen?
Heads in.
Don't
Not
give
much
up
time
a,
left.
don't give
make
up a
the
score.
tackle in bounds.
Try and keep them in bounds. Tim
Oh,
Eaton
he's
with
got
a good
it.
catch.
Oh,
no,
without a tag, so I don't think there'll be any forward progress there from where the tag fell out. And the clock will
Did
still
he
be
get
running.
out of bounds?
No,
He
he
did
didn't.
not.
His flag fell out.
They're going for it
Second
quickly.
down.
Kenny
Quick
Bello
one,
in there. He's
Bello.
not getting that, is he?
Yeah, he got out of bounds.
He got
I
out of
think.
bounds.
You'll
reach that
notice
ball.
the London Rebels do have a mixture of flags on wearing today, and that would be because Calvin Tarleton forgot to take their flags with them.
I thought it was tactical.
So I believe they're wearing Glasgow Hornets
they
flags.
really are. I did suggest that Glasgow might want to ask for their flags back, but
Just make them a little bit looser.
yeah. Well, you notice Tim Eaton's flag actually fell out there, and I think he probably does have one of the loose set of flags. He did try every single combination in the semi-finals, but that was the best he could come up with.
And actually, it's come
It's
out
fallen
again.
out again. Hopefully that doesn't come and bite them. Third down now. Can't be
He's
much
looking
time
for it.
left.
He's
Goes
going to
the
look for. He's going to look
corner.
for Singal in the corner. He's not found him.
It's
That's a
overthrown,
tricky throw. You've really got to nail that on the numbers to get that one in.
and that's the half.
So we're here at 7-7 at the
Yeah.
half. It's with Glasgow putting 46 points in their semi-final. They look like a free-scoring outfit, but just the one so far. And of course, they've connected up themselves. London for the equalising tie. Is there momentum either way at this point? Is it just looking like a bit of a stalemate?
I don't think I wouldn't go as far as to say stalemate. Both teams are moving the ball, but not quite managing to push it in. This is pretty much what happened in the Rebels semi-final against the Aberdeen Oil Cats. Obviously, a very different game for Aberdeen. Both teams exceptionally experienced and will have had games like this both this season and previous seasons, so they'll both know what to do.
This is not exactly a quarterback crew with a lack of experience here. Most of them have been playing since the 1930s at this point.
Yeah, it seems like certainly in last year's final and in the semi-final that the Rebels were a bit more of a second-half team. So I'd be looking if there was any momentum, maybe that way. But actually, I'd say that the Hornets have probably looked like the better team.
Hmm.
They certainly have the momentum from the semi-final.
And another thing is they have the depth of squad as well. A few
Absolutely.
of the Hornets players aren't here today, unfortunately, to enjoy their team's sort of final games. But this is a team with a lot of depth, whereas, if anything, the Rebels are, well, not known for their huge squad. But
They've never had a number of players missing today, like Chris Exler, who normally plays centre, Rich Kulig stepping in at centre today. Len Rinaldi, another American import, who's about 160 years old, back in the US at the moment. Another couple of players also missing that have played throughout the season.
So that Glasgow Hornets offensive unit is coming in again. One player that we haven't mentioned from that particular lineup is Callum Bell. Also a very experienced player, come up through the youth system at Glasgow. And a very, very solid centre who
Certainly
often gets
is.
overlooked in the number of options that Alan Young has at his disposal.
Also, what I haven't seen too much from the Hornets that they did a lot in the semi-final is that option with Nicky and then running it. A lot of times that worked to get the defence off, and then he could run for about 5 or 6 yards. Haven't seen too much
I
of
know,
that from him so far.
A play that the Victoria Park Panthers do quite a lot. And if you can get 5 or 6 yards every play, you're going to move the ball down the field.
That's going to be a crucial thing on this one, is not to get overexcited with the coverage that you're seeing
Yeah.
and throw the ball directly into the hands of the safety.
Rebels going into their box zone.
And McLennan, with his very fluid motion, again picking up 4 or 5 yards, threatening to make someone miss every single time.
If you
All
can-
of that experience plays into knowing
absolutely.
exactly where he needs to be
if
on
you
the
can make
field.
that first tackler miss, and you've got the speed like McLennan has to get away from the people trying to make the angle up on the defence, you're going to get yards.
Young again, that signature style, pick the ball up, throw it down.
Nicky Farrell shouting, make him miss there.
Rebels again going
Oh,
in.
it's the option.
There's
Oh,
Farrell,
it's
he's found
there.
Callum Bell over the side.
That's the play that you were talking about, Jen.
Yeah, choosing to throw at that time to Bell.
Such a great resource to have at your disposal. And they were drilling the blitzer down on Alan Young there because they know he's not going to give them a lot of time to get there before he releases the ball. And Nicky Farrell sweeping round.
By his own admission, Alan Young not the most mobile of quarterbacks. Running back in, the option now.
He's gone outside for him. He's made one man miss. Oh.
So there we go. Baited them with the throw last time and going for the run that time for
It's the ability that some of these players have to just stop, change direction, but continue at a certain pace when they come out of it. This is not like starting your old 1970s car.
My knees used to let me be able to do that, but not anymore.
Alan Young looking, he's trying to find Grant McLennan there, he's picked it up, lovely reflex catch.
I think Tim Eaton was waiting for that one just to fall right into his lap there.
He was nearly there.
London Rebels have changed their blitzer now. It's number 28, Jean-Noel Lam, in at blitzing. If you get a close-up of him later, check out his moustache. It is a thing of beauty.
It's a disappointing Brit Bowl for facial hair.
Hand off Sneaky, and he's going to run
Farrell.
that in. Just a couple yards short there.
Something that does seem to be happening in this is that when they've got a drive going, Alan Young will seem to find a player per drive
and
that he
stick
will push.
with them. Yeah, that's just about every play's gone to Nicky Farrell on this drive.
Jules got a lot of action in the last one, and then he was trying to find other players. Like, he's defying the defence to stop his first option.
I'm going under centre now in the trips package. And there are... and Rich Cooling gets in there. 4th down and out.
And there's the issue when you have your go-to short yards play, that eventually the defence will learn it, and they're able to capitalise on that knowledge there, Cooling.
Very good stand there. 8 plays. And couldn't get it in.
Amazingly frustrating to a team when you take all of those yards, go all the way down, and then you can't punch in from short yardage.
And it's things like that that can really turn a game. The buzz that the defence can get with that could spur them on a bit here.
Fakes it to Singal. He's looking up. He hits him again.
Incomplete. Another drop there.
He's looking for a flab. He's not going to get that because the first time he made that touch, that was game.
There was quite a lot of aggro between the Rebels and the Oilcats in their game. Quite a number of flags thrown. I don't think we've had any yet, have we?
They've just let this game go.
Yeah, really have.
Really, haven't they? There doesn't seem to have been much call for it,
not
to be
at all.
Honest. Neither team seems to be playing a particularly snipey game of flag. They've just come out there, just tried to open up their own football and go for it.
Tarleton going from under centre to a deep snap on this one.
Bill Ammons there. Another player that doesn't look like a football player. And another player with GB experience.
All these deep snap throws. This is Calvin Tarleton sort of learning from by being sacked by Sharks players, right?
Probably, yeah. If we could get close enough to sack him. Yeah. There we go, and Bill Ammons again.
A lot of field there, but the Hornets closed down on that very well.
Nicky Farrell with another tackle.
That'll be the crucial moment in this one. They can have as much space as they want as long as they don't get more than 5 yards before you tackle them.
I think that brings up 4th down. A poor pass by Calvin Tarleton there. Kenny Bello open for the 1st down.
That whole play looked like it was running away from the Rebels the moment the snap came in.
And I do wonder if that's Calvin Tarleton with his injured finger.
It didn't look like a particularly challenging snap.
No, he got the ball well controlled. I think it just got away from him on the pass.
Nice hitch over the line there. Would have been enough for a 1st down.
Alan Young under centre again.
Dave Pasnick, obviously, formerly of the West Coast Trojans, one of those players that will do a fair bit of damage to you. They've got options all over the park.
They really do.
It's the difference when you get to the finals level and you suddenly start to see the depth in some of these teams. Of course, we saw more teams in the playoffs than ever before when BAFA expanded its team format for the playoffs to 3 teams from each division. As someone that went through that this season, did you feel like it changed the play for the better or the worse?
I would say somewhere in between, John. I think, from my perspective, there were probably slightly too many teams that got through. I think there were too many teams with too many of the weaker teams that really were outplayed in the playoffs. Some teams having to travel significant distances to get absolutely thrashed in the playoffs, and that really doesn't benefit anybody.
Oh!
Tim Eaton with the pick.
Not sure who he was trying to target.
I have no
actually.
idea either.
If anything, the first pick that Alan Young threw was in sort of dead time. Might have been
Yeah,
this one.
that was
Awful position to do it. 7-7, this close to your own end zone.
This is going to be a big ask for the Hornets.
He's going to be
defense.
furious on the sidelines there with himself.
That's the
Singal,
run.
he's looking for a first cut.
Oh, another nice tackle by number 41 Gibson, 47.
Andrew Gibson, another one of those players that turned up on the Player of the Year voting again this season. Extremely good at marshalling his defence and very, very secure with his tackles.
Yeah, that middle of the field, he's not letting anything get past him. It was like that in the semi-finals as well.
If Glasgow get a stop here, it's going to be extremely buoyant for their confidence, but they've got very little ground to make up the Rebels.
3 plays and 7 yards is all the Rebels need.
He's immediately looking across the bellow, can get them.
Oh,
Oh!
it's the score.
Cooling is in acres of space there.
Absolutely wide open there. That makes the score
With that long
13-7.
snap and this unconventional blitzing technique, Tottenham, he really does have so much time.
He really does.
That play developed just as it was designed, and
Having
the
that-
receiver wide open.
Having that strong arm so you can start that few extra yards further back from the centre makes such a difference.
Absolutely.
That gives you, the blitzer's got 15 yards to make up.
And centre, one of those, the smarter teams know the importance of the centre
Absolutely.
position. You don't just look at the receivers, the talent like Singal and Bello.
That's
You
the
say
same-
so many opportunities
incomplete.
for a decent centre to tear up defences if you're not paying attention to them.
That makes the score 13-7 to the Rebels. I think we're probably about 10 minutes in.
So this is going to be a test of the resilience of the Glasgow Hornets, having gone behind in the way they did, throwing a slightly confusing interception so deep in their own half. They've got to respond here and put together a drive. Or, if they felt like they're saving time, just bomb it down the field. But I wouldn't be taking too many risks at this point. Just restore the confidence to your side, just like he's done there. Pass to Dave Pasnick.
You've got to think they have to score on this drive, otherwise it's going to be extremely tough. The Rebels, with an experienced player like Calvin Tarleton at quarterback, are going to start to run the clock out. Yeah.
We really haven't seen much of a deep game from the Hornets, and I think you're right that shouldn't be resorting to that now, because really Rebels haven't missed a tackle yet. If they can just get them to miss the one, then I think they'll be able to.
It's
put
the
some
run
yards
option.
on. And again, a good tackle there.
And that's the run there, the sweep from Nicky Farrell, or Nicky Football as it says
Yes,
on the back.
indeed.
Did you ever have the confidence to be a Neil Football?
Definitely not. I've been called many things, but never that. Probably quite a few of them that we couldn't repeat.
And Jules Holden White running on the outside. He's going to challenge his man. What
nice
a catch.
hand. Oh, there's going to be
Oh.
a flag here. If there's not a flag, I'll be super. There we go. It's got to be
3
offense.
flags.
Yeah, that's going to be a
Raining
penalty on the
flags.
offense. I don't think there was anything malicious in that, but there was definitely contact.
You notice when a man like that hits you, though.
You would know that, yeah. And I think despite what the Hornets might argue, there's no doubt that was definitely a penalty. I think it was, as we said before, I think that's probably the first penalty of the game. And 10 yards at this point of the game is going to make a huge difference.
Really knocks the wind out of your sails.
It does. After such a good one-handed catch as well.
I mean, we've had a number of changes in league play in recent years, but that one stayed fairly sturdy.
On contact, you mean? Yeah.
Gonna have a running back option here from Nicky.
He's going to go
And
down
there's
field.
again Nicky
Julian
Farrell.
Holborn-White
He's
is
got space in the middle.
I'm surprised he hasn't run it sooner, actually.
He had a bit of a gap there, and now he doesn't. Woof.
Nice move.
Maybe it's our vantage point up here.
Possibly.
But we saw he had all that
number
field to
83,
attack.
Callum Bell, was open down the right sideline and unfortunately just didn't see him.
And even could have run it down the middle there for a significant gain.
Yeah, we've got 3 balcony quarterbacks here with our knowledge,
Best kind.
our insight from being at this vantage point and not having anyone run at us at all. Although we're going to keep our head on the swivel.
No, the no-look pass from Alan Young there picks up the first down.
That is one of Alan Young's enduring strengths, and it's what he needs to do to get the Hornets back into it. Get his side behind him, complete these short passes. He's got a sort of irrepressible calm
He
when
really
running
does.
his team. Maybe not so much off the sideline.
Well, I think since he's got older, he's calmed down quite a lot. As a junior, he was quite a missed tackle there.
Oh,
Grant McLean is still going.
as you say, a character with a lot of passion for flag, but when he's on the field,
That's one way you could describe it. Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah. Alan has had quite a few penalty flags thrown toward.
On both of these sides, no one's
Indeed.
going to be panicking. It's just a question of whether they can complete their game plan the way they want to, or whether they need to change it up very quickly. And Young, he's looking for Hasnerick. He's got it.
Is good.
He's got it. Haserick has it.
Wow. Bobbled a bit in the air there, the ball. I wasn't sure it was going to make it, but
The official took his
reeled
time
in.
to signal that one, and from our vantage point, we really couldn't tell if he got his foot in.
That's precisely the
Possibly.
sort of drive that they needed to put together, though.
So that makes the score 13-all with the extra point to come. I reckon there's only about probably 5 minutes left in this game. This extra point is now really important.
see if they go for
That bad pass by Calvin Tartan on the extra point really could be quite costly.
Shout out, of course, to a few of the team players on the sidelines that, for whatever reason, injury or
he made that
rotation.
look so easy.
one of their favourites.
It was the one that they failed on the previous drive.
So 14 to 13, and the Rebels have gone from kicking themselves to leading by 1 point.
Yeah. That interception that Alan Young threw hasn't cost them too much. They've got the ball back and confidently moved down the field.
Credit to them for having that sort of mental resilience to pick themselves up, make those plays, and here we are, 1 point ahead. And like you said, that missed extra point may come back to haunt the Rebels.
As you say, a couple of players on the Hornets sideline for sure. The reps are limited due to injury. Mike Dunn returning from an injury from surgery recently, and of course Richie Moore, a
Yeah.
mainstay, and a
I was chatting to
deceptively
him.
big
And it's
threat, and it's a
open.
big play!
A great first down there.
Andrew Gibson with the saving tackle. He was with him, to be fair, and had to make that grab, but you don't want to let Calvin Tartan throw the ball over your defense.
If you give that over the top, he will take it all day long.
He was looking for that a couple of times with Kenny Bello, eventually found it through Rich Cooling.
Some of the shorter players on for the Hornets defence at the moment. That could well change if the Rebels get a few more completed passes on this drive.
And he's got...
Oh!
Oh!
Rich
Gone
Cooling with
anywhere.
the drop again. He should have had that one.
Those are one of those heart-in-the-mouth moments with flag football where you see the ball come out of your hands and you wonder where you're going to push it.
Gibson had his hands full with the flag that he had just taken off his belt though.
Second down now. I reckon this is the same play going to the other side. Kenny Bello, did he get his foot
Very
in?
sure. He looked like he
Yeah.
did. Very sure hands though. There was no bobbling there. It was where he put his feet down.
Didn't get many yards though. Now third and goal. Can't be much time left. We could be coming up to the 2-minute warning soon.
Have we seen much change in the defence? Are people running pretty much the same set, or are we seeing a fairly vanilla defence from both sides?
don't think I've seen very much. Rebels generally play either man or box defence. Looks like the Hornets are in that at the moment. You can see two up front, two deep safeties with the blitzer.
Oh, he's wide open the middle!
Not sure from our vantage point whether Nicky got a hand on that one or if Tim Eaton just dropped it.
That might have been Nicky. I think it's having that deep option they've learned from that pass over the top to have someone with
Some of the Rebels asking the officials about contact downfield.
They have a punt, but it seemed incidental.
You'll notice the Hornets for fourth down. They've got all the experience on the field now with passing it McLennan and Holborn White in for cover three deep safeties. Got a prevent defence. There's going to be one blitzer, Nicky Farrell up short for that top tackle. Still got some standard
Looking across, Teddy Bella's going to have to lock this up.
goes long. It's picked off by McLennan. One.
Yeah, they don't need to do too much special here. They just need to keep moving the ball and not go crazy.
They're going to keep the ball in hand, keep the ball inbounds, let that clock tick down.
Young will not want to throw another interception here.
Callum Bell walking out to the front now, waiting to snap this ball just before the halfway line.
It's good, possibly a running play. I wouldn't be at all surprised. Looking
Nicky
for
Farrell's open in the middle.
stay in bounds.
Just sit down on it. Don't do anything crazy. Anyone looking like they're threatening a caffeine rush gets substituted straight away at this point.
2:40, I think I heard on the clock there.
Which is more than enough time.
It really
if they can
is.
stop them and go down there. This is not a game that's over, but
If they score, that extra point could really come back and be really costly.
oh, he's picked it! He's picked the
It's
ball!
a pick.
Flags everywhere!
He's lost his
Gonna
flag.
Go all the way. And if that's
He's got the flags
Oh.
are on his back.
This is going to be an interesting
What's
call.
going to happen here? The flags fell just after the interception. They've called the touchdown. What's going to happen here, though?
It's going to be a... I think his flags were probably okay when he caught the ball, but in trying to tackle him.
What did the referees see, though? All those flags shot onto the field.
Yeah, I think
and
there was probably
for Young, I
contact.
think. Yeah.
They've called... So it is a touchdown. The Rebels have pulled one out of nowhere. 2-minute warning. They're getting a shorter extra point, which is also crucial considering how extra points win the game.
Well, after we'd said hardly any penalties,
Yeah.
not a very contact game, it's
Bill
suddenly
Abbott-
gone. Stakes are getting higher, and
So
people
Bill
are putting out the
Ammons
stops.
with the blitz and the interception. The blitz, the tip and the interception and the return for the touchdown.
Wow.
It looked like he was just going to be bundled to the ground on the pick, but how did he get up
I've
from
no
that?
idea.
It looked like the Hornets, the offense, were just going to sit on his head to make sure that he didn't get up and run it back.
I think
but
they
he just,
might be going for 2 here, but it's with the penalty
and it's Bello wide
Wow.
open.
Finally found his man there.
because they went from the 6-yard line, so
Yeah.
that's got to have gone for 2. Plus 2, 8,
This is 21 to
21-14, 7-point game. Yeah. With there were 2:40 on the
About
clock.
2-minute warning was an untimed down on the extra point, so it was a 2-minute warning.
2 minutes left.
I'm still
Well.
flabbergasted. I don't
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
how that even
Wow.
happened.
Neither do I. I'm surprised by Alan Young trying to force that pass through the middle.
It's just maybe a bit too much time on the clock for them just to have run down with run plays, but still, that was a...
Just make
risky.
somebody miss. Just run it short, hit
Yeah.
something. None of
now,
us are in
obviously.
this particular final, so
It's
we
easy
could
to call
do
it
this from the.
here, isn't it?
It's easy, so easy,
McLean
especially
in.
in this situation.
Oh!
Oh, very nearly did it again.
Another.
Akshay Singhal nearly with the pick. That brings up third and halfway.
A 6'7" Callum Bell would have got that.
1:37 left on the clock. Have we ever had a final that's gone to overtime? I don't think we have.
We're still relative
Oh,
newbies.
he's dropped it.
It was a tricky one for him to come back on. He would have been getting the plaudits had he caught that,
My
but
balcony quarterback expertise should have got rid of that a little bit sooner.
Fourth down and half. Pattern.
that's where he earns his big
He
money.
does.
Or no money. Unless they're paying their players, in which case it's a completely different story.
We haven't talked
They're-
about him much this game, but there we go, coming
he's
up trumps
stepping
at the
up
end there.
They're Scottish, they don't pay anything. I'm allowed to say that. Probably throwing on one of the shortest players again on the Rebels there, Akshay Singhal, who's going to be really disappointed in that play. That's 4 chances to score now from about the 15-yard line.
They might try and exploit this height advantage again then.
And Farrell's got
He's-
the ball. He's
oh.
going to look at the option. He's going to
He's-
see some. Oh,
he's
has he got
running.
it? Made one man miss.
Oh. He picked up about 6 yards, brings up about 2nd and 7.
Great hip work there to make him miss that tackle.
Clock is running but can't quite hear. We must be inside a minute now. Alan Young goes under centre.
Looking for Pasnick maybe to try and get some space under there.
And he's
found Helmut
scores!
White.
Go-to man again.
That makes it 21-20.
So much comes down to this extra point now.
Holborn White able to get just half a yard of separation, and it was enough.
Just using his body to get in front of the defender. Once you get that man with his shoulders in front of you, you need Google Maps to get round and to get at the ball.
Here's the question, they're in trips. We know what they
What's
might
it
try
going to be?
here.
It's going to be, they looked for Callum Bell on the short out and they're looking for it again.
He's seen a man in the back of the end
It's-
zone. He's leaping it up. He's got He's dropped it!
Julian Holborn White with the drop.
Both
It looked for
Farrell
all the
and
well-
Holborn White went up for that, and neither came down with it.
It's a 1-point game. The Rebels surely can't lose it now.
With this much time on the clock, you really just have
The
to.
Hornets do have 2 timeouts left.
True.
Expect Calvin Tarleton to run about in the backfield, hoping not to give up a safety.
Really here, running plays, making sure you're getting out.
Yeah, they're in the bunch formation. Look for he's quite possibly going to take the knee here. Going to run the clock out. Expect the Hornets to take the timeouts really quickly.
Oh,
Timeout taken. See if we can hear how long's left. 35 seconds, I think.
I think it was.
Yeah, they're going to run the clock out. There's only 1 timeout left. There's a 25-second play clock.
a sickening
gonna-
way for the
Going to
the
take it
Glasgow
down to
Hornets.
about 32 seconds after this play. They might have to throw it on 4th down.
He's just
illegal-
running around. He invited the sack and using the
Illegal. I
time.
think that's probably an illegal blitz. They weren't 7 yards back. That's got to be a penalty.
They crossed the
Yep.
line of scrimmage.
I
which
think
looks
they
like he
did.
might
I
have,
think they
yeah.
did. This is an interesting one for the officials here. At least 3
gosh.
players went towards him, and only one of them was 7 yards back. Good experience from Calvin Tarleton. We can hear the Victoria Park Panthers saying exactly the same thing behind us. Interesting call for the officials here.
Of course, their player, the Glasgow Hornets, stormed through the season. They were talking before about who they would rather play, the Aberdeen Oilcats or the London Rebels. Sorry, of course, the Oilcats were the only team before this that had defeated the Glasgow Hornets. Could the Rebels be the second?
Let's see. It'd be interesting that if the penalty's called on anyone, it'll look like it'll be on McLennan, which you wouldn't expect from his level of experience.
What was your score in your third, fourth playoff? Who won? Oilcarts won.
We're getting word from the commentary booth. We've got a result from the third, fourth place playoff.
The Aberdeen Oilcats beat the Victoria Park Panthers. We're not quite sure of what the score was.
The Aberdeen
We'll
Oilcats, of course, got a third place victory 2 years ago, beating the Leicester Eagles in the third, fourth place playoff. They're returning to that bronze slot after a year out.
Just hearing that we think the score was 25 points to 7 to the Aberdeen Oilcats, so they take third place, the Panthers take fourth.
Not exactly sure what the upshot of this was. We've got 7 players on the field for the Hornets there, but managed to get
Didn't
off
see
in
a
time.
flag thrown.
No.
No timeouts left. Clock is going to run. If there's more than that's the game.
And that's it. The London Rebels win by the distance of a single extra point, and I know we were banging on in our balcony quarterback position about extra points being so very important, but that last one.
And we thought it might have been the other way round, with the Rebels missing an earlier one, but it turns out after once they got their 2 points, it was that miss by to Julian Holborn-White in the back of the end zone that was the difference between the championship and second place.
And of course the penalty allowing them to go for 2 as well. If they had only been able to go for 1, we might see ourselves in extra time here.
Absolutely.
And they would never have even considered going for 2 in that
Absolutely.
situation without that
Absolutely
penalty.
I might have.
I think a deserved win by the Rebels. They've not. They've done unbeaten all season. Didn't look challenged through the regional playoffs. Run close by the Glasgow Hornets today, but doing what they couldn't do last season against the Birmingham Lions.
Of course, a team that started last season with injuries and didn't look necessarily like all season they were even going to be in there. They got to the final. They lost out to the Birmingham Lions. This year they've come back. And they've shown great resilience to get there and to get the trophy this time. I think they last won in 2013.
It'll be something like that, yeah. At the start of last season, even the Chichester Sharks managed to beat them. But did well towards the end of the season. Have suffered a couple of injuries this season, but not as bad as last year.
And you've got the Glasgow Hornets there, a team assembled with a lot of talented players. It's got to be really tough for them at this position to be losing, but a huge season for them.
Absolutely. The furthest they've got in the league through to the playoffs before, the first time in the final. Not quite there, but look to see them challenging next year and in years to come.
Yeah, a lot of young talent there, a lot of positives for them to build on. I thought they looked really good, really disciplined, and if you've got those fundamentals, just a little bit more experience for some of the younger players. And
I agree. I think Alan Young's going to take a lot of that game on his shoulders with that pick 6 from Bill Alminance running half the length of the field. That's going to be a tough one to come back from.
That said, you've got to pick in that much traffic to see a man run down the sidelines from that distance. That's not just on the quarterback, but
he did
like
really
you
well.
say, Alan Young has done a huge amount to get the Glasgow Hornets to this point, scoring 99 touchdowns on the season, which is a ludicrous amount for a season. And he can't take too much from this. It's a difficult situation. It hasn't gone their way, but still an absolutely quality organisation.
Well done.
I've been told to mention that it was one less than 100.
Oh, it was, yes.
According to the stats that he sent me, it says 101 passing touchdowns.
Well, there's a bit of balcony quarterback controversy here.
I'm sure it must have been 99. It's not physically possible to throw 100 in one season.
But like you say, yeah, an impressive season and definitely a lot of promise for next year.
The Aberdeen Oilcats there going down to shake hands with both sets of players.
Always get some sort of idiot pitch invaders.
Yeah, unlike the Victoria Panthers who are already hitting the bar. I think we only had the one penalty flag on that contact penalty, which did end up being really very significant.
Absolutely.
On that 2-point extra point from the 6-yard line. But I think well refereed game there.
Yeah, I would agree. They really left them to it for the most part and let it be really quite a tense, close, excellent final.
That's just what we wanted.
Of course, a few of these Rebels players will be no strangers to success. Some of the Glasgow Hornets players, some have tasted it, notably the Kirkcaldy Bulls players, but a couple of the youth players who won the Youth Championship in 2009 will be there, but I would expect them to come back firing next season in the Scottish Leagues. We've got a bank of BAFA representatives down there next to some extremely fancy-looking plates.
It's the who's who of BAFA.
You can see Nick Burtonshaw there, the England-Wales flag, and Scotland, I believe. They've incorporated Scotland a couple of years ago. And, of course, John Wise.
Very nice plates. Blue satin, my.
And, of course, a hand for our refereeing crew, always a thankless task.
Indeed, no, I think
no one's getting an open-top bus ride.
And good to see full coverage by the BAFA officials at all the playoff games here today, not just in the actual final game. It makes such a difference to have good quality refereeing.
So there we go, the annual ceremonial presentation of the flags that Calvin forgot to pick up. It looks like a sort of Morris dancing monstrosity being handed back to the Glasgow Hornets at this point. Or like a giant clown wig.
Maybe that's the secret. Borrow flags from your opponents.
They're mulling around now. John Wise guarding the ceremonial plates. Nick Burnshaw there stalking the pitch after another year at the helm of the BAFA flag leagues. What were your impressions this year of the league playing from your position?
I think fairly well organised. I think there's still some things that need to be sorted out. Some of the facilities at some of the different locations may not be up to scratch. With teams travelling quite some long distances sometimes, you want to have the best facilities. Excellent facilities here today in Sheffield. Lovely grass, not many divots, I don't think. Good to see marked out pitches, which makes a big difference when you're playing. There has been talking for a number of seasons about whether we should have the league split into different divisions by Division 1, Division 2 kind of thing, so you don't have blowout games. Whether there are enough teams to do that remains to be seen. It's difficult to know. What did you think from the Northern Division?
It's a very tricky situation. I think previous to the season, people were talking about the tiered league system and the way that, and it can't be forgotten that the BAFA Flag League has grown in numbers year on year and year. But I think it's time for all of the league, and not the league itself, the league's teams to start making a decision about what they want this league to be. Yeah. There's been a lot of talk, especially in your division, about teams that haven't been able to complete the season, that haven't been able to make game days.
And a number of teams. I think we had at least one team left the league before even playing a game, which helps. But a number of teams forfeiting throughout the season, including the Birmingham Lions, who weren't able to make 2 away fixtures, which meant they eliminated themselves automatically from the playoffs. Obviously, they would have been looking to repeat this year. But once you've got one team coming out of a game day, it completely upsets the schedule. Potentially having to rearrange games, it makes it exceptionally difficult.
We have a situation at the minute, it's very easy to blame the organising body, and that's partly what they're there for. But it comes a point where all of these teams are going to have to get together and say, is this something we want to do for a bit of fun in the park, or is this something we want to turn into a higher level of standard? And either way is a decent option, but the decision needs to be made.
Absolutely. I think the way that the Women's League, the Opal Series, ran for the first time last year and is about to start again, the way that they've done it with fixed dates throughout the season, each set of fixtures, I think there are 3. There's one going to be one in Portsmouth, one in Northampton, possibly, and then somewhere further north. So that the dates and the locations are known well in advance. A number of teams turning up to each one. So even if it's unfortunate and one team does pull out, then there are enough other teams there to complete the fixtures. A number of teams throughout the senior kitted season or the senior flag season just weren't able to complete their schedules because of forfeits of other teams.
as a player that's competed for a number of years in a team at a university and in a women's league play and at the highest level internationally at the European Championships, what do you think the atmosphere is like for the women's game at the minute? Is there a feeling that it is a sort of a fun game, or is it something where they're desperate to push on and make it into a more structured and, may we say it, like an amateur sport that's run professionally?
Yeah, I'd say that it's going in a positive direction. I'd say that we would love for it to be, personally I only speak for myself, but love it to be more professional and get it away. I know we certainly put in the time, effort to make it worth it seeming like a more professional operation than it might currently be. But I'd say, yeah, it's actually really well. Like you say, knowing the 3 dates means you don't get a lot of teams forfeiting. It also, of course, we have our grumbles about it being our whole season's coming down to 3 days, and if you have a bad day and if a player can't make it, then you have all sorts of those drawbacks. But yeah, largely I think we're moving in a really positive direction. More teams are signing up for this year's Opal than before. We had our first ever summer series as well, which meant we could keep up our play over the summer. Historically, university teams aren't really able to do as much while term's not in session. So yeah, definitely some positive moves. Obviously the first ever Great Britain women's flag team last year, and they are coming on leaps and bounds and will continue to do so. So I'd say very exciting time, and if it could become more professional, then I think we'd all welcome that for sure.
It's interesting that you mentioned the arrival of the summer series and things like this as well. In the mixed game, there's also been the growth of a few of the tournaments that aren't necessarily mandated by BAFA. The league, I think there's the Invicta League down in Kent. The Southwest Series is being run over in the southwest of England with teams from playing Exeter. And of course you've got the Outlaw Flag League. And what's prompted the growth of these sort of organisations?
Teams just want to play more games, I think, and they want to play all year. Obviously, the BAFA League runs from approximately April, obviously, through to today in September. The Opal Series for the women running from now until
really October to December,
through a couple of months. But I know there's a lot of the weather in Great Britain is not always that bad. There is people want to play more football, and it gives an opportunity for these other leagues within these other competitions for players who might not get much game time in games like we're seeing today to actually get game experience, which makes such a difference. It's a completely different game playing and training than it is to playing a competitive game against the best teams in the country.
In fact, actually, our search to get more game time has meant that over the last couple of months we've started looking for international tournaments that teams can enter. So Cougars, a mixed women's team of other teams, Wolverines and the Pink Panthers all went over to Germany for
Big Bowl,
that's
the one.
And a couple of us are going over for Pink Bowl to The Hague. So I think the fact that we are going internationally to get more playing time rather than domestically maybe means we do need to think about getting some more playing opportunities, because nothing beats game time in terms of developing skill and talent.
And it is one of the things that was noticed about one of the semi-finals today, the Victoria Park Panthers, is not necessarily a team that was fancied for Big Brit Bowl at the start of the season, but have developed a lot of their skills, one playing in a very competitive SEC South, but also being willing to go out there and play some of the best teams in Europe at Big Bowl.
Absolutely. It's the same group of guys that have played together for a number of years, and that consistency has grown year on year. I think they've been to Big Bowl last year and this year. And it's made a huge difference to the way that they've stepped up their game, and we've seen that this season and through to today. Couldn't quite do it today, but certainly pulled off a great win against the Northants Titans in 6 overtimes in the regional playoffs.
And this is the thing, of course, the London Rebels have not been afraid to challenge themselves against some of the best teams in Europe. The Glasgow Hornets, many of them were part of the Chieftains squad that travelled over to Big Bowl this year, and Britain cannot be putting itself in a position where it starts patting itself on the back for having a number of teams. It needs to not be insular, and it needs to be willing to continue this work of going out there and seeking out these tournaments.
And I think it's, I imagine, certainly personally, and us at the Chichester Sharks, we'd love to be able to go and do these things. It's quite often it's the distances travelled, it's essentially the cost that prohibits people from doing it.
Here we have the Glasgow Hornets receiving their finalist medals. Great season for Glasgow, fell an extra point short, and when you have a situation like that, it's so tempting to start focusing on single plays and single things, but it comes down to a whole season, and at the end of the day, they lost to a very good team, but they also lost playing well. They did by no means disgrace themselves today.
Not at all.
Still sucks though, right?
The small silver plate definitely isn't as nice as the big.
I mean, what are you even going to put on a small silver plate? It's not even adequate size for meat platters. It's just a constant reminder of how close you were to having a full sort of prosciutto and like Parma ham spread. You'd just be on the crackers with cheese on that one and just thinking of what could have been.
Well, just take stills for that.
Yeah, just pretend.
And we're waiting now with anticipation. And it's just above our balcony quarterback vantage point, which means that we will get a full shot of that moustache that Neil was so very fond of.
I think we have to try and get a close-up of
It is pretty fabulous.
Jean-Noel Lamb,
And here we are.
number 28.
There we
Rich
go.
Cooling going up first there.
Receiving their gold medals and handshakes all round.
Then Akshay Singhal,
Singhal did so much to get the Rebels to this point in the final.
Rudy Dominic, who designed the
And it
London
is
Rebels
indeed a
logo.
fine moustache.
Yeah.
And of course, there's Bill Evans, who put the cat among the pigeons in spectacular fashion in that second half, and Calvin Tartan, who drove this team all the way. Oh, he's dropped it!
Fabulous.
You can't trust them to do
Yeah.
anything.
That's why Calvin plays quarterback.
Not the safest pair of hands. Silver plate went flying to the floor.
Just wait for the excuse with the sore finger to come.
It's a good job it wasn't one of those cheap ones from the Costco. That would have been shattered into a million little pieces there, and the shame would have been captured for generations to come. Maybe they would have preferred the smaller plate. It would have been more manageable. Just a smaller weight class, just to work up to it. It's been 3 years since they lifted something
This
like
is
that.
true.
They're just not used to it.
Sure, they must all be over the moon.
Or just exhausted.
And I'm sure I won't hear the end of it. Good friends with a number of these players.
And of course, that continues the streak of at least 4 years in which a team from the south has claimed the Brit Bowl trophy.
It is the strongest conference in football. There's Calvin taking a knee once again.
Possibly the most calming play that they've run in this one. As they say, a small but perfectly formed squad of players. They're running all the way to the Brit Bowl Championship. Not the youngest of squads either.
They're
so
really not.
Here we go, average age.
There we go.
33.2 years. Won't say who
Which is
is bringing
still
up the average.
younger than Chichester Sharks.
Don't ever let it be said that we don't bring you stats when we need to.
Which is probably why they're here and the Chichester Sharks are not.
In fact, pulling the flag is the place to go for BAFTA stats. There they are, the slow walk back to the giant pile of bags, which presumably just have the champagne in it. They're not just going to settle. So we're going to be back with you in a couple of hours at 3:45 for the under-12 finals. But until then, we'll congratulate the London Rebels 21-20 winners over the Glasgow Hornets in the adult final. We have yet another new champion crowned, the Rebels bouncing back from their final loss. And we're going to be welcoming back our commentary crew, but let's just thank them now. Neil Henderson and Jen Mackier, who guided you through this tense match, which was a lot tenser than we hoped it would be.
It really was, and I think it's just the kind of final that we wanted. And it's a good climax to the end of the season.
Absolutely, two talented teams out there giving it everything. Really great to see.
And we'll see you in a couple of hours for the under-12s. Didn't throw anyone any horrible questions.
1 2 1 2. Okay, hello to the 23 people who are still watching. I'm Nathan Ray. I'm the live stream producer for today. I'm going to stop the live stream now and start it up again about half an hour before the event starts. The next event starts, which is in about an hour and a half. It's at 2:45. So I'm going to say goodbye to you now, and I'll be starting it up. If you want to share this this event, you can share bit.ly/BritBowl, and that will take people to the live stream, which will be starting in about an hour's time. So that's bit.ly/BritBowl. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for watching. I will see you later.